Join me within the Kingdom and Culture community.
What's up, family, and welcome to this week's KNC chat. So excited that you are here, and it's me, Tiara, as well as Stacy Holt. What's up, Stace?
Hello, how are you? How are we, KNC chatters? Is that a thing?
I think it is. You just
Okay.
made it a thing. If it wasn't, it is now. Okay. KNC chatters, hashtag in the chat. I am here for it. Yes. So, how is your day?
It's good. It's good. I can't complain. I mean, I could, but no need to do that.
I mean, you're not wrong. We all could. We all could definitely go down that track, but you know what? We made it. The day is over, and now you are here with us, family, on this week's Kingdom and Culture Chat. And happy November! Like, oh my gosh, is it crazy to anybody other than me that we are literally at the end of November? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. You said happy November, and I was like, it's almost over. But yes,
Which I'm still like, isn't it November 1st in my mind? What are we doing? I don't know, but
happy New
it's
Year at this point. At this rate, I mean, but am I lying? Happy New
you're
Year.
not.
Okay.
Is it MLK yet day? I mean, what are we doing? Okay, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and which speaks of all the things, right? Next week is Thanksgiving. We got holiday parties coming up, family gatherings, work Christmas parties. Kids are coming out of school, and life is lifing already. And so we are adding even more to the schedule, which is crazy and super exciting. So, Stacey, let me ask you, what is your favorite holiday and why?
Hands down, Thanksgiving is my favorite because it's the basics. It's food and it's family. And you know what? It's not gifts. We don't
Oh,
have to give gifts. So I'm just saying, I feel like Thanksgiving is Christmas without the gifts. It's food and family. And so those are my two favorite things.
you're
Also,
not.
gifts is my least love language. It's
It
last
is.
on my list. So
It is.
it gives
Which is
me a lot of
ironic
joy
because your husband is his like he loves to give you gifts.
because that's his love language. It's love language number one for him.
It-
So thank you, Lord, for that.
Yep. I love
Oh my
it.
goodness.
Yeah, for me, I would say I definitely enjoyed the holiday of Christmas, like celebrating the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
I love the fact that, it really is about because he came in a manger, meek and lowly, that we're able to enjoy the opportunity of eternal life. So, I definitely want to honor that time. And so, yeah, I'm here for Christmas. I think it's pretty fun to hang out. Typically, I spend the last couple of weeks of the year off, relaxing with my family. So I'm here for a couple of weeks off, huh?
Listen, that can bring a lot of joy. It's interesting though, because even though it is such a joyful time for so many people, it's also a time um that it brings a lot of reflection. And a lot of times a lot of people recognize, who isn't here this season or who
Sure.
was here last season that isn't here. So for those of you out there that this is a difficult season, we're just praying for encouragement and don't isolate yourself if you can avoid it, be in community and yeah, it can be a tough season.
Yeah, for sure. It's okay. I love what you said though. It's like it's okay to feel that and still move on, but just don't settle
Yes,
there, right?
right. Absolutely.
Yep. There's so much to that because like there's the I feel like the season lends to what we're going to talk about today, right? Because
Yes.
today we're talking about priorities and how do you prioritize the priority, which is making space for God within busy seasons. And so I'm excited to jump into this week's chat because there's actually multiple facets when we say schedules. There's like
Yeah.
the actual schedule of the holiday, scheduling time to spend with your family, scheduling the Christmas party, scheduling, your time off, schedule, and then you're busy within your time off doing things, right? Like, and then there's the actual mental toll that the holidays can take, which to your point, sometimes it's sadness because of loss. Sometimes that mental toll is enveloped in the fact that we have so much on the plate past our regular 9 to 5 jobs. I know for me, when my kids are out on the summer, for example, it's a lot. Like I'm so much happier when it's just schedule.
Yes.
Okay, get up, go to work, go to school. Everyone has their place. We're good.
Right. No, I mean, and then I know you talked about the mental, and then there's like the emotional toll, kind of what I spoke to earlier. It's mental and emotional, right? Working through all the feelings. And so just in all the busyness, I feel like the season generally is supposed to be about, taking some time off and resting. But I feel like as a culture, we are so focused on maximizing our downtime that it
Yeah.
ends up being a busier season than we intended to be. And then once we get past it, we're tired, right? And we've not prioritized the things that need to be prioritized. So it's just it's an interesting place that we end up during the holiday seasons.
Yeah, that's so true. And with all these things, the question arises, which is what we really wanted to pose to our community today. How do we prioritize first things first, right? Like, and when I say that, I mean spending more time with the Lord.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to this concept of building in margin for priorities. Because when I think about even spiritually, how many times do we get busy doing things, but we're not doing the thing that the Lord has asked us to do? And so, yes, this principle of creating margin, being this, creating discipline so that we can prioritize first things first applies definitely during the holiday season. I would even challenge this is something that you could listen to in February, in March, in April, in May, and June, right? All throughout the year, because when it comes to prioritization of spending time in God's presence and with Him, it has to be a priority. It has to almost be something where this is something that we're going to do. And when I think about this, I think about this word disciple, right?
Mm,
Being a follower of Christ. When you break the word down, it literally means a disciplined follower, right? What
mm.
is a disciple? It's a disciplined follower. And as Christians and believers, we're called to be disciplined in the way that we approach our relationship, our rigor, our learning of the things of the word and spending time with Him.
No, and it's interesting because I feel like when we think about a disciplined follower, you would expect, say, during a downtime or like a Thanksgiving and a Christmas, that we're really focusing on, a measure of gratitude during Thanksgiving, or during Christmas, we're really focused on, the coming of Christ and the birth of Christ. And so, as a disciplined follower, it would lend us towards maybe spending an extra measure of time, right, in the word
Yeah,
because of these seasons. But a
right.
lot of times, it ends up being the thing that we squeeze out. We're trying to squeeze so much into our day that we end up
Mhm.
squeezing out the thing that is the most
Wow.
important. So,
Mhm. Yeah. And it's really like I remember I wrote in my journal when I was praying one time, going into, I think it was like this time last year, and I wrote in my journal, I wrote, um, I was like, Lord, what are you saying to me? What is your will for me? You know, what do you want me to focus on for the upcoming year? And I really felt like he told me, and I wrote it in my journal, you know, quiet the noise. And I thought it through, and I thought about what he was saying. He was like, no, that's an action word. You have to quiet the noise, because in every season of our lives, specifically within holidays, specifically within, you know, I just think every time all of our life can be like this, but there is so much noise in today's culture that is pulling at you, grappling at you. You know, I can't even sit down sometimes and do my devotional. I'm looking at my phone, YouTube is up, I'm getting a notification at 4 a.m. It's just like, stop, you know,
Yeah.
and all of that noise will continue to happen. We had, you know, what he was saying to me in that moment was, Tiara, that's an action word. Quiet the noise. You know what I'm saying? And I think it really leads to, you know, one of the stories found in Luke 10:38, where there's Mary and Martha, right? And, you know, when I think about this scene, Mary and Martha was close friends with Jesus and Lazarus, right? They were all buddies. They all hung out a lot, and Jesus would go to their house often. Well, this time he's in the house. The house is full of people, and Martha is doing all the do. She's logistics. She's making it happen. And while Mary is sitting at Jesus's feet and just getting some quality time in, and she's like, "Yo, tell her to get up," which is practical, right? Like, don't you see me doing all this, making it happen so y'all can eat, so y'all can hang out? And she said, and Jesus finally tells her, she's chosen the portion. And I just feel like out of everything that we could be doing, you know, what portion are we choosing? You know what I'm saying? And what does that look like in this season? And so, you know, like, to create that margin.
No, that's really good. It's interesting. Even in that Martha, not only is she busy, but she wants everyone else to be busy around her as well, right? So I think we have to be careful. And I think even when we think about all of the events and all the
Yeah,
parties, all the
that
things
part.
that we're getting into, that we consider other people, you know, consider
Mhm.
their schedules, consider their time. Are we encouraging them to sit with the Lord and
Yeah.
not just come be a part of our busyness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary in verse 42, I just wanted to read it. It says,
Yeah.
Martha, in verse 42, Jesus says, let's start in 41. He says, Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. And so Jesus, even in that moment, was like, she made a choice, just like, you know, felt like last year the Lord Holy Spirit really spoke to me and was like, Tiara, it's up to you to make the choice to quiet this noise. You have to create that margin and that space to be able to lean into what quality time is really going to look like for me.
No, that's so good. I love that.
Yep. So the question is how? Stacey, how are we going to practically apply this? Because we all know we booked and busy. But what should we do? Give us some tips.
Well, I think there's three things that we have to consider, right? The very first thing is to have a made up mind. You have to make up your mind that in this season, regardless of how busy it gets and how many events I'm invited to, how many things I want to do with my children, make sure they see all the lights at every, expo. Um, we have to have a made up mind that every day I will commit to being with the Lord,
That's
right?
good.
So in Psalms 119, 112, it says in the contemporary English version, it says, I have made up my mind to obey your laws forever, no matter what. Right. And so you have to have a made up mind. That is number one.
Yeah.
And so once you make up your mind, I think the second thing is you have to set a time. You have to set aside a specific time.
So good.
In Psalm 63, 1, it says, Oh God, and this is KJV. So I'm going to get my thous and my arts. But oh
Hey,
God, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsts for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. And what I love about this is that David, who is writing the song, he has decided, I'm going to seek you early in the morning, right? And I know for me, I'm a morning person, so early mornings work.
Yeah.
But I do find that the busier I get, well, what I'll say is early mornings work best for me, but there are times when I'll do it in the evening. But I find that if I know that I'm in a particularly busy season, I do
Mhm.
have to carve out that time in the morning.
Yeah.
But the bottom line for this is set a time, right? So if you know you're a night owl and night is when you want to spend your time with the Lord, then absolutely do that. But just one, have a made up mind.
Yeah.
Two, set a time. And then the last thing, this is something that I learned probably about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I was kind of challenged with my time with the Lord, and I felt like I wasn't, I don't want to say productive, but I feel like I didn't really have a plan for it. And there's a pastor in Jacksonville that came out with this method, and it's called the 10-10-20. And what it is, it's 10 minutes of silent reflection. And
Mm.
sometimes I'll just play some music and just think about the Lord, think about his goodness. If there's verses that I have memorized, I will kind of ponder on those. And then 10 minutes of prayer.
Mm.
And she really encourages you to pray out loud. And I
Mm.
know that a lot of times when I pray quietly to myself, one, I will get sleepy. And two, there's something about like putting words into the atmosphere and
Mm.
just really verbalizing them. That for me changed my prayer life. And then the
Mm.
very last thing is 20. So 10-10-20, and the 20 minutes is 20 minutes in the word. So whether that's, starting with a specific book of the Bible that you want to read through. So you check in and every day you read 20 minutes. And it's not a speed read. It's really ingesting line by line. And I find that if I read a line and I'm going to the next line and I don't know what I just read, I go back and read that line. So some
Mm.
days I will read 10 verses in the 20 minutes because I'm really meditating and praying over that. And so those are the three things: a made up mind, set a time, and then have a plan. If the 10-10-20 works for you, I love that. But if you have something else, drop it in the chat. We'd love to have other methods that other people use to
For
share with
sure.
the community.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. So practical too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just being able to like put arms around what that is. So yeah, like Stacey said, go ahead and put in the chat what you do, or if you have a specific devotion that you're doing right now in this season. Maybe for like sometimes in some seasons, I know for me, I've used like materials, right? So like a devotional book of fill in the blank or something like that. Maybe it's a devotional book that I've done. So yeah, I love that. And we would love y'all's suggestions on what you're doing in this season to prioritize your priorities. So Stacey, as we wrap up here, is anything else you'd like to share with the community?
I mean, I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving, right? We're a week away, and I just really want to encourage you to take that time every day to spend with the Lord. And if it's something that you can do with your family, bring them in, right? The kids are going to be home from school.
Yeah.
Maybe your spouse, if you have one, is also off of work. So there's some time that you can get together and maybe read a devotional or read a story and just
Yes.
reflect on the season of gratitude and the birth of Christ. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think
Amen.
that's it.
Yes, agree. Happy Thanksgiving, family. And next week, I'm excited because we have the Nancy Monroe coming to us on the podcast. She's going to talk about all things food, workout, and dieting, which we will probably
Ooh.
need into Thanksgiving week. So I'm excited about that. Family, we love you guys, and we will see you at the next KNC chat. Until then, peace.